If you are thinking about implementing AI into your business, there are 5 questions you need to ask yourself beforehand. The next minutes we'll answer each one of these questions one at a time. We'll go over the risks, the real-world examples, and practical steps that any company, even a 5-person shop, can implement in the next week. By the end, you're going to have a complete checklist on what you should do in order to implement AI efficiently and safely into your business. So let's get started. The first question is your business data private and safe? Now, this is a real story. Last month, on May 13th, 2025, a US judge told OpenAI, keep every chat, every API call, don't erase a thing. What does this mean? Well, when you type a prompt, it doesn't really stay in your computer. It shoots across the internet, lands on OpenAI servers, and gets stored for up to 30 days so they can stop spam and fix bugs. Unless the law now says keep it longer, which is exactly what that court order does. Think of it like putting a copy of every memo you ever wrote into a stranger's filing cabinet. Basically, it's not yours. This is why this could matter to you. 30 days is an eternity for a company. A lawsuit, a hostile takeover, even a leak from a rogue employee can turn those stored chats into an Exhibit A. Now, under European rules, moving that data to US servers can trigger GDPR fines. Under US subpoenas, opposing lawyers can ask for anything still on disk. Overnight, your secret expansion plan becomes a public record. Now, let's go over a 4-point safety plan. First of all, you can use a no storage option, which OpenAI calls the zero data retention. With it, logs are never kept, so nothing basically exists to hand over. You can run a private model, you can host open source models on your own cloud or on-prem servers, then you hold the keys. Of course, this is a much more expensive option. You have to think about the software that you need, and you have to think about the hardware that you actually need in order to run all of these models locally. You should always redact before you send, so like strip names, prices, or medical details before the text leaves your network. And also you can encrypt in flight and at rest. So think of encryption as putting email in a locked box. Only you and the recipient have the key to access it. So if you want to type something into ChatGPT and you would not feel comfortable to see it next day on the front page of a newspaper, think twice before actually typing it in. The second question would be, what if the model just makes stuff up? Now, another quick real story. Air Canada was forced to honor a refund after its chatbot invented a policy. Yeah, it's real. Jake booked a last-minute ticket when his grandmother passed away. He asked the airline's chatbot about bereavement discounts. The bot made one up. Now, the court said Air Canada paid the refund anyway. Pretty embarrassing, but it's not really the end of the world. And as a disclaimer, this happened on February 17th, 2024, so over a year ago. AI should do better now. Now, this is why this usually happens. Large language models are super fast guessers. They pick the word that probably follows the one before it. They're not a database, they're basically an autocomplete generator on steroids. So ask a question that isn't in their training data, and just like a confident intern, they're going to guess it wrong maybe. So what can go wrong? Made up answers can cost money, think wrong refund rules, for example, or dent trust if a customer spots the mistake. In regulated work like healthcare or finance, a bad fact can break the rules. But remember, most everyday uses like drafting emails, like summarizing reports, carry far less risk. There are 3 safe nets that resolve 90% of these problems. One would be RAG, which is Retrieval Augmented Generation. You can let the model look things up in your documents before it answers, like a student checking the textbook. Basically, you give all of your internal company's documents and data to a bot. Again, keep in mind the first question that we asked, is your data private? You have to take into consideration all of these facts. And then that chatbot or that AI assistant or that large language model can have always access to your documents and it will answer more accurately. The second option would be the temperature dial. Basically, you turn down the creativity slider. The lower the numbers, the fewer the guesses. So basically, more boring but safer text. And the third option would be the classic human in the loop. Treat every AI answer as draft. Have a person check it before actually sending it or before putting that data on a proposal and sending it again to your customer. As a conclusion, think of the model as a junior employee that works very, very fast and sometimes bluffs, let's say. But if you pair it with a source check and you pair it with another human that can overlook what he has wrote, then you should be good. The third question should be, what if OpenAI or another AI provider goes down for a few hours? Again, real story, twice this spring OpenAI stumbled, once for 4 hours and once almost all day. where millions of chatbots and dashboards blinked 404. Now, it wasn't a hack, it was just a bad internet day. It has almost a zero chance to happen, but just like I said, the emphasis on almost, it can happen, and it happened. Now, this is why these outages actually happen in the first place. Your prompts write the same digital road as Netflix and as emails. So if a key breach, let's say Cloudflare or Google Cloud, fails, then traffic backs up and the model can't reply. It's rare, but not zero. So here are 3 fast safety nets. One would be to supplier switch. Basically plug a second model provider like Anthropic or Mistral, whatever, into the same code. If provider A hiccups, flip to provider B. It's like a backup for AI assistants. It's really improbable to have OpenAI and Google fall both at the same time. The second one would be to have answer cache. Basically, save the top 100 FAQs in your business. If the AI is offline, serve the pre-written answer instead of an error. Of course, this one goes more for chatbots. And the third one would be queue and retry. If both are down, hold the question for 10 minutes, then try again automatically. The user sees a polite "we're on it." This again works more when you have an automation that uses AI for its answers. Better safe than sorry, you should always have one extra provider, you should always have answer cache, and you should always have retry. The fourth question is, what's the carbon tab? This is more of an ecological question, let's say, more of a morals question. Now, training GPT-4 is estimated to have pumped out around 15,000 tons of CO2, about the same as flying 30,000 people from London to New York. To put that into context, OpenAI's own numbers show the average ChatGPT question uses about 0.34 watt hours, roughly what a high efficiency bulb runs in a couple of minutes, or an oven in 1 second. So if your team runs around 1,000 prompts per day, that's around the energy that a desk fan would have in a day. This is why this could be important for your company. Now, big investors are watching. Funds with the ESG label already warn tech giants, show us the AI energy numbers or risk getting kicked out of green portfolios. So even if your own emissions are tiny, customers and shareholders now look for a climate plan on every invoice. 2 low effort options for this problem would be to use smaller or distilled models. So if you know that you have a task that doesn't really require a lot of intelligence, you can use past GPT models that consume less. And also the tokens are going to be much cheaper. So it's a win-win for you. And you can batch and cache answers, which is basically grouping prompts and reusing common replies. And the last question would be, who actually owns the outcomes? Another real story. Disney and Universal sued Midjourney for copyright infringement. Last week, the mouse and the minions teamed up in court. They claim an AI tool copied their characters without permission. And they want damages, of course. Now, the translation is, if the output breaks the law, the lawyers chase the business behind the model, not the algorithm itself. So you have to be careful about that. Using AI is like hiring a super fast freelancer. Whatever it writes, predicts, or decides carries your logo. So if the text is wrong, biased, or copied, customers will blame you for it. So you should always basically keep 3 records. You should keep the prompt log, which is what you asked the model. You should keep the model version, which is which engine actually replied, for example, GPT-4o on June 2025, and the human sign-off. So basically who clicked the send to customer button. Now, these questions may apply to some niches in some industries, maybe for mid-sized businesses to large-sized businesses because of all of these legal things. Maybe sectors like finance or like healthcare should care more about these. But also you should keep in mind all the alternatives on all of the pain points that may occur because of using AI into your business. Now, this should not scare you. It's something normal, but if you do your due diligence, you can actually use AI to your benefit. So I actually encourage you to implement AI into your business. Guys, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, put them down below in the comments. Also in the description, I'm going to have a link to my waiting list for my community. And the first 25 people to sign in are going to have a free lifetime access. So go down below, sign in if you're interested about scaling your business using AI, scaling it efficiently and scaling it safely also.